So yeah, lads, the WNBA is heading towards a lockout. We can be completely honest here. It's very much heading towards a lockout or a work stoppage, and I don't care about my cement.
We have Satu Sabali giving us a glimpse, some insight into how CBA negotiations are unfolding behind the scenes, calling the most recent offer a slap in the player's face.
I mean, look, it would be so on brand for the WNBA to gain momentum, start getting viewership, start selling at arenas, and then go into a lockout, killing their sport.
Caitlin Clark just tossed the WNBA's new CBA in the trash like it was last season's sneakers, and now the league's spinning like a confused referee. Is the rookie queen triggering a total meltdown? Did she just refuse to play nice with the disgraceful deal of doom? Buckle up, because this isn't just drama. It's a full-court soap opera with dunks, diva energy, and the possible collapse of an entire league. Let's unpack the madness.
So basically, man, I ended up running into some of the CBA negotiation that's going on. Of course, the players have rejected it. But yeah, she said it was a slap in the face. Now, you also have Breanna Stewart with Owen Pence up here saying Breanna Stewart this morning after shoot-around on CBA negotiations. She ended up stating absolutely frustrated. Anytime you go back and forth, you're not expecting to hear that yes on the first proposal, but you're expecting to have a conversation. They kind of just ignored everything we said. Oh my goodness, man. Talk about spitting in their face. Now,
so apparently, Caitlin Clark just hit the WNBA with a no-look rejection that landed harder than her logo threes. The league tossed her a CBA offer, and she basically returned it with a note that said, "Try again when you stop insulting my IQ." And now, oh, just a minor little crisis. The WNBA is teetering on the edge of a full-blown collapse, and all the smoke is coming from the boardroom, not the baseline.
Could we have a WNBA lockout? The WNBA and the players have not made any ground. I know it's only really been a month. Could Caitlin Clark leave the WNBA? I don't think the WNBA will be going into a lockout like this. I think they'll come to some sort of agreement. I think the NBA will kind of mend it or figure it out, because they just saw their league get to where it is this year, or last year, this past season, to where it was in the past, where no revenue was being brought in. Caitlin Clark was a driving force of the WNBA last year. If you want to see Angel Reese as well, even though I'm not a fan of her, Caitlin Clark, she put the WNBA on the map officially, I think, and I don't think there will be a lockout.
Let's not pretend this was anything close to a professional offer. It was more like a passive-aggressive note left on the fridge in a toxic roommate situation. The league's brass rolled out a CBA that looked suspiciously like a clearance rack bargain bin deal dressed up in corporate buzzwords and outdated spreadsheets. And the players?
And this is one of the weird things when it comes to Satu, or when it comes to this take, is that all the new teams, they specifically went to teams that were NBA ownership groups. They specifically went to NBA ownership groups because the NBA ownership groups have a lot of the facilities there. They have the ability to link the teams. They have the NBA arenas. They have the fan base. And by the way, like, this is what they originally tried to do in the 1990s.
And the players? Oh, they saw right through it. Forget reading between the lines. There weren't even enough lines to read. This proposal had more holes than a fishing net and smelled just as fishy. Caitlin Clark, fresh off redefining what rookie dominance looks like, wasn't about to co-sign mediocrity wrapped in legal jargon. She didn't train her whole life, break viewership records, and put an entire league back on the map just to be handed a participation trophy disguised as a new era agreement.
They care about... These players want you to care about the current players in the league. That's what they want from their league. The problem that they have is that they don't actually speak their minds and really bash the idea of expansion of the league. They should be smashing down hard on expansion of the league.
The timing? Disastrous. The tone? Condescending. The benefits? Practically imaginary. Throw in travel conditions still better suited for a middle school field trip, and you've got a recipe for rebellion. And that's exactly what's happening. This isn't just discontent, it's a full-blown mutiny wearing matching warm-ups. Players are done pretending to be grateful for crumbs. The league might have expected a polite response, maybe a firm email or a quiet union meeting. What they got instead was a public dragging, led by veterans and rookies alike, with Caitlin unintentionally, or maybe perfectly, positioned as the face of fed-up frustration. This isn't just about fairness anymore. This is about survival, pride, and the league's very identity. If the powers that be thought these women would roll over, they seriously underestimated how quickly a bad deal can turn into a league-wide wildfire. And while the WNBA scrambles to stitch together its latest CBA Frankenstein, Caitlin Clark is out here operating like the league's life support machine, and not even on payroll for it. She's the reason ticket prices have tripled, merchandise is flying off shelves, and people who thought WNBA was a radio station are suddenly experts on zone defense. She didn't just bring fans, she dragged an entire new audience into the building, kicking and screaming past the velvet rope of indifference.
Has already been ruled out for Thursday night's game against the Las Vegas Aces. Stephanie White offering up some comments that has fans concerned this injury may be more severe than we were led to believe, have fans speculating that she's going to be held out all the way up until All-Star break.
Yet, instead of being offered a seat at the big table, she's been shoved into the fold-out chair near the bathroom like a distant cousin at Thanksgiving. It's laughable. The player whose every step is monetized, from pregame tunnel walks to water breaks, is being excluded from decisions that directly impact the future of the sport she's literally transforming. Not symbolically, not eventually, right now. The irony is delicious. Here's a player who single-handedly made the WNBA relevant to mainstream media, and they're treating her like an annoying side character in her own blockbuster. Meanwhile, the folks doing the talking seem more interested in gatekeeping than growth. Instead of welcoming the most marketable athlete they've ever had, they're acting like she snuck in through a side door without knocking. Clark didn't just show up and play, she detonated the whole market. TV networks are drooling, brands are circling like hawks. Every little move she makes creates a ripple effect that touches every jersey, every seat, every ad dollar. And still, she's watching this CBA disaster unfold from the sidelines like a VIP guest with no backstage pass. The message is clear. Talent alone isn't enough. Not in this league, not yet. There's a strange resistance to the very change that could finally turn the WNBA from niche to necessity. And while veterans squabble over scraps of exposure, Clark's very presence is creating feasts they didn't know were possible.
After hearing what Elizabeth Williams said in that statement to open up the press conference about the CBA, first off, what's just like your initial reaction to hearing a... Ooh.
No, seriously, I think that that's serious business. I think that the players have been alluding to this and just alluding to not being happy. But this sounds like a formal statement. This sounds like it was strategic, like, hey, I want you to say this in this moment right now. So I think that we're going to it's very likely that we're going to actually have a lockout. Like when Angel Reese kind of teased it on her podcast, I was like, that sounds cute. Maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't. But no, this sounds like this is actually going to happen. So it's just a lot.
So here we are, watching the WNBA fumble a generational gift. The league finally got its golden goose and somehow decided the best move was to keep it in a locked cage while arguing about egg distribution. Classic. But wait, it gets even messier. The league isn't just skating on thin ice, it's breakdancing on a frozen lake with cracks already forming. The CBA, that magical document that keeps peace between billionaires and baller dreams, is about to expire. And the new deal on the table? Let's just say it's about as appetizing as airport sushi. Players aren't quietly grumbling, they're full-on side-eyeing the front office with the kind of energy that precedes walkouts and wardrobe malfunctions. And the kicker? Just when women's basketball is finally catching fire, fans pouring in, social media buzzing, and merch flying off shelves, the league might slam the brakes. Instead of capitalizing on the momentum, they're fumbling it like a buttered basketball. Who needs haters when your own playbook reads like a guide to self-sabotage? Let's follow the paper trail. The WNBA torched $50 million last season, and this year, they're practically trying to break financial speed records, barreling toward a $70 to $80 million loss like it's a contest. The W might as well stand for wipeout. It's hard to hand out million-dollar contracts when your revenue chart looks like a ski slope.
I feel like we're quickly headed towards a scenario where there's going to be a lockout in the WNBA. And this is something I've talked about a few times because I think the players, they just have a much higher perception around their dollar value worth than the league is actually worth. And some of this stuff will work itself out, right? Like if you look at the WNBA, attendance, viewership, like merchandise sale, everything's up and to the right. Sponsorships, they're making a lot more money, TV rights, everything. But most people don't understand the dynamic between the NBA owning a large chunk of the business, the owners owning a large chunk of the revenue stream, and the players are out there every day. I mean, you just look at what was happening in that 60.
And who's been bailing them out? Big Brother NBA, the only reason this ship's still floating. But even patience has a price tag, and right now, the WNBA is acting like that friend who asks for rent money while posting poolside vacation pics. The economics are brutal, the timing is worse, and if things don't shift fast, a player lockout won't just be likely, it'll be the least ridiculous part of this whole meltdown. And yet, even while the ship is leaking, the league's out here building more decks. Expansion is happening. New teams, new cities, new promises. Meanwhile, existing franchises can barely afford basketballs that aren't deflated. The players are yelling, "Fix the leaky pipes," and the league is busy installing skylights. Here's the kicker. Caitlin Clark, despite dragging the league into relevance like a Netflix reboot, asked for spot bonuses to reward standout players. She didn't even ask for herself, and the league basically ghosted her like a bad Tinder date. This woman has single-handedly boosted merchandise sales, filled arenas, and turned Wednesday night fever games into primetime viewing. And when she politely suggested a little thank you money for her teammates, the response was, "Thanks, but no thanks. Now get back on the court."
All right, black and white sports supporters. Well, we're going to talk about the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement. We know the money will be going up. The players know this too. The question is, do they have delusions of grandeur?
Meanwhile, WNBA execs are somewhere patting themselves on the back for growing the game, while Clark is out there playing 40 minutes with airline peanuts and a smile. They'll build statues in her honor when the numbers hit record highs, but when she points out that the locker room has no hot water and her teammates are flying economy in 3 cities a week, suddenly it's crickets. The league wants superstar output on an unpaid internship budget. Imagine Apple telling Tim Cook he's not allowed in the boardroom because he's too new. That's how dumb this is. Caitlin's not just a rookie, she's the rookie. The one who made WNBA ratings jump like they were on a trampoline, and yet she's still watching the negotiation circus from the cheap seats. But don't worry, it gets messier, because while the players' union is shouting from the rooftops, some of its own members are quietly plotting something else. Welcome to Unrivaled, the new upstart player-owned league, a place where, allegedly, many of the same players threatening a WNBA lockout just so happen to hold equity. Now, let's connect the dots. If the WNBA goes dark in 2025, what happens? Caitlin Clark suddenly becomes a free agent in the marketplace of exposure. If she signs with Unrivaled, that league goes supernova. Brand deals, media buzz, global hype, it all follows her. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's just how influence works. She's not a player anymore. She's a platform.
I'm thinking they need to negotiate a guaranteed 25 to 30% shared profit. I think that's more than fair.
I think that's sustainable. I say another 10%, which is or 25%, because I think you said it's up to 20% with incentives and things of that nature. So I'm just assuming that if it's 15 or 18% right now. So if you add 10 more percent to that, that'll be around 25 to 28%. So I'm looking at around.
Let's go deeper. Nearly 80% of WNBA players will become free agents next year. That means the new CBA isn't just a financial document, it's a declaration of who runs this league. But here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not the players, it's not even the owners. It's Caitlin Clark. She's the sun in this solar system, and everyone else is just trying not to burn. There's a real chance the next CBA decides who survives and who fades into irrelevance. But instead of inviting Caitlin to shape the future she basically created, the league seems intent on freezing her out to preserve fragile egos. It's the ultimate self-own. Thanks for saving the house from burning down. Now please wait outside while we board up the windows. Meanwhile, internal resentment is bubbling. Caitlin's teammates on the Indiana Fever are now clearing 7 figures, thanks entirely to the spotlight she dragged over them. And yet, those same players aren't exactly lobbying for her inclusion in the union leadership. In fact, many of them seem content to let her do all the heavy lifting while they tweet vague subtweets about respecting the game. Then you've got the lower market teams, the WNBA's equivalent of abandoned blockbuster locations, who are getting trampled in the stampede toward relevance. The Connecticut Sun is reportedly looking to sell. The Chicago Sky is still flying commercial.
Here's what the WNBA's plan is, in my opinion. Again, this is just Jeff's opinion. I don't have no inside sources. The WNBA wants to go into the CBA negotiations and the media negotiations. The CBA is going to be about guilting the owners into making it about the plight of women and social justice instead of basketball, and Caitlin Clark being the difference. Remember, guys, they already got the media deal. So we're not talking about the media deal. We're talking about how this money is going to be divvied up. Remember, they want 7 figures. They want some players to be making 7 figures. There's only two people who can probably, well, maybe three or four, that can justify 7 figures. And that's Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, the Dallas Stars girl, I can't remember her name, and maybe one or two more.
And the LA Sparks are trying to fundraise with GoFundMe links, while the league flashes $250 million in expansion fees and whispers sweet nothings about a $3 billion media rights deal. The players are stuck eating cold pasta in hotel lobbies. And don't even get started on that media deal. That money doesn't exist yet. It's monopoly cash until contracts are signed and checks are cashed. So when players are told to wait their turn for better pay, they're actually being told to wait for a fairy tale ending that's still being written in invisible ink. At this point, it's hard to tell if the WNBA is a basketball league or an ongoing social experiment in mismanagement. Because here's what no one's saying. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's the contingency plan. If the league fails to meet the players' demands and the CBA talks implode, the only thing that might keep it alive is her name on a jersey. So why on earth isn't she in the room? Fear. Plain and simple. Caitlin Clark has more leverage than anyone wants to admit. She doesn't need the WNBA. The WNBA needs her. The league can't afford to lose her, but they also can't seem to figure out how to treat her like a partner instead of an outsider.
I think it would be a step backwards. You know, if people are coming and seeing your product and now they're starting to get more invested. You know, I mean, last year in the NCAA tournament, I was like in my glory. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that, you know, women's NCAA basketball would be as big as it was. And the fact that there were people, I mean, even let's say like people were betting on the games. I might go to a bar and someone's like, hey, can you put that LSU game on? Now, probably because they had bets on it, but previous to that, no one was ever betting on women's basketball.
And fans? Oh, fans are noticing. They're not stupid. They see the double standards. They see who's scoring 30 while getting elbowed in the face. They see who's showing up for press, doing interviews, promoting the game, and still being iced out of critical conversations. The Caitlin Clark backlash isn't about basketball, it's about tribalism. She's the disruptor in a league allergic to change. And let's be real, if she walks away, everything collapses. No more sold-out arenas, no more national headlines, no more growing the game. The buzz goes silent, the ratings vanish, and the league, it'll be right back where it started, trying to sell seats at high school gyms and hoping Steph Curry retweets them. This is bigger than contracts. This is about vision. The WNBA stands at a crossroads, and it's got two choices: evolve or evaporate. The path to sustainability runs through one person, and she's already made it clear. She's not signing up for disrespect disguised as opportunity.
The WNBA negotiations for the new CBA has begun, and according to Satou Sabally, it's not going super well so far. Because she said a lot of information without saying a lot, and it doesn't sound super promising, at least the first offer that the WNBA gave to the Players Association. And so obviously the goal is to continue to work on the negotiations.
So what happens now? That depends. Will the league finally recognize that its MVP isn't just the most valuable player, but the most valuable person in the room? Or will they continue this bizarre pantomime where everyone pretends Caitlin Clark is just another jersey number on the roster? The clock's ticking. The players are fuming. The owners are bleeding cash. And Caitlin, she's holding the league in the palm of her hand and choosing not to crush it. Yet, the bottom line is this. If the WNBA doesn't stop acting like a jealous older sibling and start treating Caitlin Clark like the once-in-a-generation talent she is, it's not just going to lose her. It's going to lose everything she brought with her, and no CBA will be able to fix that.